Hi guys, welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. This is just a quick vlog update to say hello and what we've been up to in the last week. Okay guys, so the purpose of this video is just staying in touch and letting you know what's going on. So one of the first things, I'd say in the last 2 weeks I've been spending a fair amount of the time playing around with waxes and doing lots of different blends and test brews with the waxes. And I finally came up with this brew here that I put on the car the other day, and it's I'll call it FF220, that's the formula number. So if I just let this camera eventually sort itself out and zoom in. Oh, hold on a second, bear with me, I'm just going to press the focus button so it gets it. There it goes. So we've got this lovely kind of, just get the focus again. Sorry, it's my bodged camera skills. But you can see there, it's this lovely kind of smooth blend. It's just about the right sort of consistency. It's nice and soft, and poke my finger straight through it, but it still holds up okay. It's not greasy. It's a good consistent blend, okay, with the basic ratios, which is always important. Because I was getting to the stage where I could get nice smooth blends. I understood what the different waxes were giving me, you know, and how to balance those waxes, you know, how to, if I increase the amount of carnauba, I'm getting better, carnauba, not carnauba. If I increase the amount of carnauba, then I'd know how that would affect the overall kind of wax blend and what I would need to do to kind of make that wax more workable in terms of increasing oils or solvents potentially, or whatever. And vice versa, if I made the wax softer, you start getting a feel of how to balance and blend your waxes. Then after a while, when you've done blends using different types of waxes as your dominant wax, your feature kind of, to try and get those characteristics, eventually you start coming to the conclusion that a natural wax blend has real limitations, okay? Now, you can still do lots of cool stuff, but they have limitations, especially in terms of durability. They really do, okay? And they're quite simple things. So eventually you come to the conclusion you're going to have to go down the synthetic additive route. Things suddenly become very complicated, very time consuming, and it requires a lot of research, a lot of reaching out and trying different things, and that's what I'm doing on a weekly basis. So this week, this last wax blend here, I say it's fully synthetic. It's got six waxes in it, and they're natural forms of wax, okay? Which is quite complicated to blend, to balance 6 waxes. Everything else is synthetic. What we've been able to do with this wax that I couldn't do with, you know, natural blends, if you like, if that's what you want to call them, is I couldn't get the level of hydrophobic behaviour, water behaviour that I'm getting, and I couldn't get durability out of my waxes that I can get with this waxes. And the most important thing now with the additives is they're scalable. These attributes are scalable, so they become part of the overall balancing act, okay? Now you can overcook it. They're not infinitely scalable. You can overcook it. Not, I don't mean by overheating it. I mean by putting too much in of something, you can ruin how the wax works. You know, it can become unfunctional, I guess. But to have scalable additives is really important. So at the moment, we've taken a big step forward, and we have a wax now which suddenly I can prove to myself very easily, you know, just by laying these waxes up against my favourites and start to test them for the strength of the kind of water behaviour, the protection and the durability, how long the wax is functional on there. I'm now able to compete with some of my favourite waxes, and I'm now able to outperform, probably for the first time, other waxes which I've messed around with. And I can, just with this blend here, 220, I can outperform a lot of waxes, and it's a step closer. Okay, so it's a big step closer to where I want to be. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. You can get carried away. You've got to stay critically minded, and you've got to keep trying to improve it. Okay, and the better the wax gets, the harder it is to improve it. You can even make it worse when you're messing around with it. But if there's things you're not happy with, you have to try and address them. Now, one thing I wanted the durability of some of those renowned waxes which last like up to a year. Okay, and I don't know if I've got it yet, but you know, time will tell. I've got it. I've tested alongside them, and as each sort of week ticks by, I'm getting more information on that. But as well as being able to match them on the durability and the hydrophobic side, which is what I've been trying to do, I want to improve the way these waxes that can last a long time can be applied and removed. In other words, I want all the durability and all the hydrophobic behaviour, but I do not want them curing down too hard on the paintwork, so that if you leave them a long time and they really dry on you, like a couple of the waxes which I really like, you know, those durable waxes, but they become too hard to remove. I don't want this to ever do that, so I want it to be user friendly. If I can get all of those things, I think I'm done and I'm happy. So that's where I am with this. It's still a work in progress, but like I say, it's getting there, and I'll show you some pictures of how it's looking. We have some more additives to play around with this week, and it takes weeks to fully understand these additives. You can get disappointing results when you first use them, and it comes from a lack of understanding of them, you know, so you have to use them extensively to make sure you're not missing out on a trick here, or you're not using them wrong. You have to pay attention to temperatures, you have to pay attention to how you blend them and when you blend them, at what stage, okay? There's some other things you need to pay attention to as well. But so I've got 2 new additives this week to play around with. That's going to keep me really busy. Right, I think that's where we are with the waxes. That is just about where we are with the waxes. So what else is going on? What else is going on? These are my notes. So like I say, no script. What else is going on? We got this towel come through, and I did a quick review of this towel on the Forensic Detailing channel Facebook page. Okay, I'm just looking myself in the viewfinder. Forgive me, I look like a right chav with this bloody thing on. But it's freezing. I've been looking forward to the end of summer, because you get all those problems of detailing out in the sun, you know. But then suddenly it gets freezing cold, and you just wish it was summer again. You know, I was washing a car the other day. For the first time, I didn't want to dunk my hand in the bucket because the water was so cold. So I know I'm definitely getting old. So I had to go inside and put some hot water in the bucket. So yeah, it's cold. But going back to this towel, there's a new accessory company started up called Fex Philosophy, okay? And he sent me this towel, and I put him in contact with Detailing World as well to see if he wants to review it. And Brian from Detailing World reviewed it. So Brian, if you're watching, I know we talked about this towel. This is, Brian loved it, you know, he loved this towel. The thing about this towel is, and you have to see the review on the channel, but it's how plush it is. The height of the nap, the pile height on this is up there with any, you won't find a towel with a higher nap on this, okay? So it makes the towel one of those really fluffy, soft ones, okay? Even more so than the two that my favourite two of the dense, fluffy towels with the Silverback and the Master of Fibres, which are very similar offerings, very good price, very dense, but they're shorter nap than this, so they get their density from being shorter nap, but I think, you know, the fibres are more bunched up. So this is the kind of longer, fluffier offering, which feels softer, okay? It isn't softer, and both of them are just as safe as each other. So it's a little bit of personal preference, really, but you know, Brian loved this towel, and I love it as well. And the good thing about it is it's cheaper than most of the kind of big detailing companies' branded towels, where, you know, like the Chemical guys, you know, who I love and are a great company, but they'll charge you 20 quid for their towel. I mean, it is big. But the guys that are kind of starting up, looking to put out the quality products there, I think they realise that, you know, they need to beat the big guys on price, and they do. And the products are, you know, this is denser than the Woolly Mammoth towel by a long way. You know, 1200 GSM versus 880, so it's a much denser offering. But it's also the most important thing, like I say, the value for money. For 13 quid, it's good, okay? And there is nothing, I think, if you favour a kind of dense towel, there's nothing here that you're not going to like. The thing that surprised me is I thought the towel was going to limp more, because when you have the long nap, okay, the long nap on it, then there's just more fibres in there to get pulled out, okay? So I tested it first, and I was expecting it to be all like fluff coming out of it. It didn't, okay, and I've used the towel about 2 or 3 times now. I've even used it on cars with natural waxes on them and kind of worked them a bit harder to see if I can pull some of the lint out of the cloth, and I couldn't. So I don't think there's any issues that anyone's going to have with this towel other than kind of a really good experience. So let's keep this short and sweet. So Effects Philosophy, I think it's called Professor Plush. It's nice, the Professor Plush, good name. Is a great product, so go and check it out. And as always, any product I talk about, see the description for a link of where you can buy it. Okay, they're also offering this hybrid kind of 2-sided wash mitt that is a long pile lamb's wool on one side and a short pile on the other side. It's called the Mohican. I haven't used it, but Brian loved it as well. And it's different to anything else on the market. So if you're one of these guys that likes to try products, check out that Mohican wash mitt on their site. Again, I'll link it. What else is going on this week? So we also had someone shout out to us about a company, Farrell Jones Aromatic Solutions, who saw the air freshener video and reached out to the channel and made contact, which is always nice. So these guys produce scents, so they manufacture the scents and formulate the scents themselves and sell scent related products. So water-based scents, you know, so scents that are in air fresheners, I guess, scents that are oils and scents that are in essential oils. So those scents can be used in candle making, you know, typically, but also wax making. So if any of you are into the homebrew kind of wax scene, which I know a few people who watch the channel are, these oils are great for putting into your wax blends to give them a scent and, you know, make them a bit more nice if you don't want that kind of solvent smell. They do some other automotive, as well as loads of other cleaning products as well. They do some automotive specific products like glass cleaners and glass sealant. So I'm interested to check these out, because big movement towards, you know, the market 5 years ago was just glass cleaners, the occasional glass cleaner with anti-fog as well, but now there's a big demand for glass cleaners with sealants in them. So these are popular. So I want to see how potent these are. So I'll be having to play around with those. They do a standard glass cleaner as well, you know, like a, there's no point in going, an alcohol-based cleaner where you spray it on, you work it, and you buff it up, and then it flashes a kind of way. Anything that's left flashes away, so you get that kind of streak-free finish. And they do those, and you can customise the scent options to any one of their kind of 140 odd fragrances, which is insane. They also do, I believe, customisable fragrances, so you can approach them, you know, and say, I want this particular scent, and I believe they can formulate it for you, which is quite interesting. If you check out their website, and again, I will put a link to their website in the description. You can see all their products, and they don't just sell you, you know, they'll sell you just an air freshener if you want an air freshener, whatever, but they'll sell you kind of bulk quantities of it as well, which is kind of quite important. So there's a whole range of products there. We've even got disinfectant cleaners for those things I talked about in my air freshener video. Sometimes you, as well as just masking, you want something to eliminate the source of the bacteria. So disinfectant cleaner, if there's vomit or something like that, or, you know, poo from a dog, you know, dog poo on the rear seat or whatever, you know, all the nasty things, milk, those things that are organic and are bacterial and the smell won't go away unless you disinfect them. They provide solutions for that. So that's good. Yeah, so check out their website, which I will put a link to, and I can't see it here. So yeah, just check the description for the website and I'll put it up there. So yeah, they sent, so if you're into making waxes, for example, homebrew waxes, they make fragrance oils or fragrances that are in solvent-based kind of dispersions, I think is probably the word. So fragrances that you can add to a wax blend and they won't, you know, they won't need emulsifying, they'll just mix in. And here's an example of one. This is a spiced apple fragrance. And it's lovely, you know, it really is nice. Like I talked about that chemical twang. There is no chemical twang. This almost is like opening a carton of apple juice and smelling it with a bit of cinnamon in the background. So it's almost like it smells good enough to drink, which is what you want, that kind of pureness. So these aren't some kind of Chinese horrible, I shouldn't use the word Chinese, it sounds like, but they're not, you know what I mean? They're not kind of nasty, cheap fragrances. They are high quality. So again, if you're in that homebrew scene and you're looking to provide scent oils and stuff like that, there you go, there's a good shout out there. They also do air fresheners, okay? So that you can get kind of air fresheners off of them in all those scents, and they do different, you know, you can buy a bottle of air freshener off them, but I noticed on their site, and go and check it out, and again, I'll put a URL, a link in, I'll flash it up there and put it in the description. Go and have a look, because they sell bulk kind of quantities of all this stuff as well, so that's always kind of quite nice. They have all sorts of fragrances, you know, all sorts of fragrances. They've sent me some here, because they're not just for car detailing, you know, they're all for anything. I'm sure a lot of the guys that make candles contact them. I'm sure there's cleaning companies that use them. People that kind of make stuff, I think, will probably know of them. But they've sent me some scents that I think guys in the car industry would be, you know, the detailing side would be interested in. This one's Italian leather, okay? So this is quite a, that's a strange thing, okay? That is like going into, when you're abroad and you see, like in Spain or, you know, in shops in Italy, they have these shops that sell leather, you know, when you're on holiday, and you go into that shop and you get that real strong hit of leather, and it's quite nice, you know. That's what this smells like. Yeah, it's got a real deep, musky leather smell to it. Interesting. You need to put it in a really clean car. That's the one thing I'd say about that. You wouldn't want to be spraying it in a stinky car to try and get a leather smell, because it's not potent enough to mask. But that, if you've got a clean car, that could definitely give your car a real scent of leather. And they got another one they sent through here, new car scent, okay? It's really difficult to describe. It's really difficult to describe this scent. There's a soapiness to it, but there's also that smell of like, as well as that sort of soapiness smell, there's a kind of, when you get like, if you go in, you know, someone lays out brand new carpet and you smell new carpet and kind of, I suppose, I could end up saying it smells like a new car, but that's interesting. It's not, again, it's very subtle. It's probably a difficult one to formulate that. It's very hard for me to describe what that new car smells like. But yeah, there's definitely a clean, soapy smell with a kind of, I don't know, I give up trying to explain that. That is very difficult. Okay, one other thing we had to do this week was a friend's car. Someone had hit the rear quarter while she was parked and shopping and put a dent in the rear bumper and rear quarter, and then scraped along the car. And literally the paint from the other car, it's been red or orange, had just gone all up the side of this car. quite bad actually. I'll overlay all the pictures and everything like that. But it was unusual because it was a job that didn't require, I thought it was going to need a lot of buffing, there'd be a lot of damage under there, but sometimes when you get that paint transfer from another car where it's gone up and scratched along you, you know, always the best way is to use a form of solvent to remove that paint. Obviously when you're using solvents on other cars, you've got to be careful, but especially with they're older cars without clear coat, but with a car with clear coat, generally you're okay kind of using a little bit of cellulose thinner in a microfiber, you know, to wipe it on that paint. You'll see it kind of removing it, and then once you've removed it, you buff it off, rinse it off, and then just dry it. Make sure there's no cellulose thinner residue kind of in any of the cracks. You know, you use hardly any of it because it's quite potent stuff. It's a paint thinner, you know. You can take the approach of using using milder, kinder, less aggressive solvents first. But I've always, whenever there's lots of paint on the car from that type of damage, I've always just gone straight for cellulose thinners. Again, the channel is all about kind of sharing as well. So if any of you guys have got any products you recommend for removing automotive paint that's been transferred as a result of a kind of scuff, let me know. The remarkable thing, I saw all the paint on it, I thought, Christ, there's going to be damage under there to have that much paint transferred across. There was hardly any damage under there. It buffed away. I had to do a little bit of compounding, just some little bits. It was incredible how good it was when all the paint came off. This particular car in question is never going to win any shows. It's battered all over the place. Someone crashed into her on one side and did that. The next day she'd gone up against the bollard or something and done the other side. So, I wasn't going to spend 5 days on this, and I only had about half an hour. So got all the paint off and just tidied up some scratches for her and then covered it in a wet coat for the winter. So that was one thing we were doing. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in. This was just a quick vlog update to stay in touch. What's coming up next on the channel? 2 interesting things. We're going to be going ahead with the brand review that I talked about. Picking a few brands that have caught my eye, where I wanted to kind of understand those brand ranges a little bit more and kind of review their entire brand to sort of show you what they're offering and pick out the kind of sort of flagship products that they're known for. So we kind of provide an explanation of what that brand is all about. So we're going to be doing that. One other thing that could be really cool is we might be going to Autoglim Laboratories up in just north of London somewhere. I don't exactly know where it is, next week. And that's as part of this PVD, the Pro Valet and Detailers mega test that they're looking to do on waxes. So I just need to find out a little bit more about that, but I've seen the list of waxes they're looking to review, and it's a really impressive list of kind of most of the front runners that you kind of hear mentioned. Your kind of your Colonites, your kind of Fusos, your Pete's 53, all these great waxes, and there's about 30 of them at least, maybe 30 or 40 of these great waxes that they're looking to review. So if that goes ahead, we'll take the camera down if we can and film some of that process, because I think that'll be great content. So I'm really looking forward to that next week. And there will be more videos coming soon. I'm just kind of thinking about some other reviews we can do on different formats of products. You know, best of with fallout removers. I know people were really interested in. Shampoo seems really popular. So that's still in my mind of what to do. And as always, if you've got a particular best of video that you want to see, let me know. So thanks very much, guys. I'm now going to go ahead and spend the next couple of hours brewing waxes, which is going to be okay. It's a bit cold, that's the only thing. All right, take care, and I will see you soon.